One implant which he removed consisted of a grey biological membrane, a tiny sac about 7 millimeters in diameter, which when cut open contained a further grey membrane. This inner membrane was so tough it could not be opened with a surgical scalpel. Inside this inner membrane was a tiny triangular object. Another feature of the implants is that they emit radio waves. These are radio waves in the FM band around a frequency of 30 megahertz. The frequency emitted by the devices just so happens to be the frequency band which is reserved for deep space communication. So the next question to ask is, what might these implants be for? Well, if we knew the answer to that, then we would probably know the answer to many other questions, such as why are the aliens here in the first place? And also, why do they not reveal themselves to the public at large? So this is a huge question, and Roger Leir and many others are working hard to try and find out the answer. There is, as yet, no answer to this question. Incidentally, this research is not funded by any government. They do not seem to want to know about it. I suspect this is because they already know the answers to these questions and would rather the public did not. Most people usually suggest that implants are tracking devices. If only it was that simple. Leir and other researchers do not believe that this is the function of these devices. Implants could be something to do with a long-term genetics program in which the aliens are involved with. Or could it be that at some point in time the aliens will flip a switch and all humans fitted with the devices will become foot soldiers for an alien race and assist them in taking control of the Earth? Derrel Simms has also made some fascinating findings about the abduction phenomena. Simms believes that the abduction phenomena runs in families. So if you are an abductee, your parents may also have been abductees. He recently made an astonishing finding. If you get a room full of self-claimed abductees and ask them if they believe that their parents are their true parents, a very large percentage will say that they are not. He believes that this could be because the mothers of these people were themselves abducted in the past and artificially inseminated by aliens. He is currently working on a program to perform DNA testing to see if abductees are not actually related to their own parents. He believes that these abductees are genetically modified beings and could be part of a genetics experiment being carried out by the aliens over many years. Other tests which Simms is involved with will try to determine if abductees who live in different parts of the world are actually closely related to each other, due to the fact that their DNA came from the same alien's needle. There could be some astonishing revelations in store when the results of this research is published. Many abductees claim to undergo repeat abductions throughout their lives. These people are often first abducted in childhood. My own personal theory on abduction is that the aliens are effectively trying to mimic the process of evolution, but in such a way that the resulting life form has the capabilities or characteristics they are trying to create. Once they have this life form, they can then hybridize this with their own species in order to help them correct their own genetic problems, so that their own future generations are more perfect than their current model. In short, they are trying to correct defaults in their own species by using customized human DNA. The customization is a slow process which requires many human subjects. So is there any useful information which has come from abductees which teaches us about the characteristics of alien creatures? One abductee interviewed by Derrel Simms was given an insight into the type of society that aliens live in.
They says, "What do you want?" And he said, I had just a moment of weakness, and I looked at him and I became a total abductee in the context, in the worst sense of the word. And that's what he mean. He says, I said, I want to stay with you. And it was kind of funny. He says, very emotional. And the entity looked at him and said, you can't do that. And he said, why? And he says, because he said, what he described, and this is kind of important for your report, I think.
Yeah.
What he described, he said, there is no such thing as free will here. It's a very militaristic society, very totalitarian in every sense of the word. You can't imagine how, to a human, it would be just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
He said, your thinking here is like an infestation.
Right.
The fact that you have free will.
Right.
And they're terrified that might get out and persuade some of the others to do something other than blind obedience and fear.
The fact that aliens can abduct human beings, then perform surgical procedures on them without any resistance is quite worrying. It means that they can exercise a degree of control over our mind that renders us totally helpless. But hang on a minute, are we not being a little hypocritical by taking offense at being tracked by aliens? Consider, if you will, our scientists that study animal behavior, who often attach radio tracking devices to record the movements and mating habits of different Earth species. They fire a dart containing an anesthetic to immobilize some unsuspecting creature, then fit the device before releasing the animal back into the wild. An hour or so later, the lion wakes up, trots off, having no recollection of the event, with a newly fitted appendage which it does not understand. Does this sound familiar? Whatever mechanism is used to paralyze humans during abduction, the most plausible explanation is that they somehow control our brain. Perhaps some kind of helmet would be able to screen our brain from this controlling influence and thus prevent an abduction. To prepare for the future, one thing that we might consider is something that will protect us against an abduction threat. Somebody that has already considered this problem and invented a device to prevent his brain from being controlled is Michael Mencken. His device, the Thought Screen Helmet, prevents telepathic communication between humans and aliens and can be constructed in just 4 hours. Mencken claims that aliens cannot immobilize people wearing the thought screen, nor can they control our minds or communicate with them using their telepathy. Some people say, well, if aliens exist, why is it they always land their spaceship on a pumpkin farm in Muggleswick? These people haven't looked beyond their noses and include politicians and anthropologists. I have a picture which I use to describe them.